Parkour has always been one of the coolest things I have ever seen. Ever since I was young, I would always look at parkour videos and only wish I could replicate the same moves they could, but no matter how much I watched them, I knew I could never get to the same level as some of those people. So instead of actually practicing parkour, I decided to turn to video games. I played a lot of games that implemented parkour, most prominently being the Assassin's Creed series. Those games always gave me the feeling of badass. Running on rooftops, climbing skyscraper tall towers, and a really fun combat system to add to all of that. Even some worse games like Brink were fun to play because of the movement system, but no game could compare in movement as Mirror's Edge. Released in 2008 on Xbox 360 and PS3, and later in early 2009 on PC, the game was one of the most fun games I have ever played. It has arguably the best free-running movement system to date, and all of that in the first-person perspective. For me, it set a new standard to the free-running genre of games. Is that even a thing? It had brilliantly crafted levels that all felt unique and would allow to replay the game near infinitely, learning new routes throughout each playthrough. It also implemented a really fun time trials mode where you would run through each story mode level, improving your time little by little, plus some extra levels added on. So you should have seen my excitement when after 7 years we would be getting a new Mirror's Edge game. But does it hold up to the first Mirror's Edge? We begin the game off with a cutscene of our main character Faith looking out of a window as some shit goes down outside. What shit, you might ask? I don't know. We can see some kids running and a single bullet casing flying around the place. And hey, now we're in prison. Why we're in prison, you might ask? I don't know that either, so stop asking questions. This actually never gets explained in the story, so you're not getting an answer to it no matter what. We get slapped around by a guard and then we're released. As I walk out, I wanted to talk to a guard, but I got promptly slapped in the face. Okay then, I'll just talk to this complete stranger. He calls himself Icarus and gives us a thing called a beat link, which apparently Faith is familiar with. Now, I'm not going to give you a lesson on stranger danger, but if a stranger gave me something right after I got out of prison, I more than likely wouldn't take it. Faith proceeds to put it in and we get a shitload of pop-up ads. I bet you're regretting that choice now, huh? Icarus rips off some kind of bracelet we had on us and now we're a fugitive. Now I bet you're really regretting that choice. This is where we're introduced to the free running mechanics in this game, and I gotta say, they feel pretty good. It feels snappy and responsive, not to mention the feeling of speed you get from making successful jumps is extremely satisfying. Honestly, I think they got the movement on point in this game. Sure, there are a few flaws in it, but we'll cross that bridge soon. We're also introduced to our first enemy type here, a Kruger-Sec Guardian, and he really doesn't put up much of a fight. Guess Faith was in a few prison fights while she was locked up. I'll get to the combat later since, as of now, it really isn't important and there's a lot more to say about it. We run into a nearby building where we kick a few enemies off it and we're faced against this guy, which he felt the need to do this move. Faith confidently runs at him and proceeds to get Sparta kicked to presumably her death, but oh no, she's not dead. She's wearing plot armor. No really, how did she manage to survive this fall, and even yet still manage to grab onto the scaffolding? We run around for a bit more and get to the roof where we're introduced to the world of Mirror's Edge and the title card. We go to meet Noah, the leader of a runner group called the Cabal and the person that took Faith in when both of her parents were killed. He tells us to speak to Birdman, I'm a bird, who tells us to do a time trial. Then we go meet up with Nomad, Faith's childhood friend. He tells us to do an errand, then another errand. I forgot to mention this, but time trials and these errands are both types of side activities in the open world of Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Did I mention this game is open world? This is a big change compared to the linear levels of the first game and probably the weakest part of the game as well. It's pointless and these side activities don't add anything to it. We are also introduced to our second enemy type, Protectors. And I'll go talk about the combat now. It's the easiest and most boring part of the game by far. Other than the first enemy type, a lot of your time spent during combat is spamming the heavy attack button, just kicking people in the face repeatedly until they drop. And it's not like the combat is much of a challenge as well. A lot of these enemies will just die by gently hitting off any object, but I would be lying if I said that the combat isn't at times really satisfying. Just listen to these sound effects and look at these animations. We come back to Noah after doing our errands and are given our first real mission, a data grab at some office building. We overhear Gabriel Kruger talking to a scientist. He's the main villain of our story, by the way. Noah tells Faith to get out of the building and calls off the mission, but Faith is really determined to not give a shit. We see a ninja dude pop out of a vent and instead of just grabbing what she needs to, Faith follows him. He starts stealing some information, gets caught by Gabriel Kruger himself. He drops whatever he was stealing and Faith proceeds to grab it and run away. After returning to Noah, Faith tells him about what she stole from Kruger and Noah is understandably pissed. Apparently Kruger is some big corporation dude, which is kind of understandable because he has an entire police force named after himself. We go to sleep, have a nightmare about our parents being killed and are told to talk to Plastic. She's this super smart, socially awkward hacker girl that has a talking robot. She tells us to go do some shit for her to speed up the hacking and are introduced to our third enemy type. And you know what that means. We finish whatever Plastic told us to do and we're told to go on another errand. On our way back from that errand, a building blows up. And I'm just gonna go talk about these graphics briefly, but the visuals are pretty good in my opinion. I heard a lot of people give it flack for the graphics, but the reflections and lighting look incredibly nice in my opinion. It could almost put ray tracing to shame. We go back to Noah to figure out why a building just fucking exploded and we're introduced to Rebecca. And why is everyone such an asshole in this game? And I really do mean everyone.
So how about you cut me some damn slack?
You also got caught and caused a whole lot of trouble for Noah.
You don't know what happened.
I know enough, and I know that I'm faster and safer than you.
Faith, you've grown. Barely out of prison and already stirring things up. Your parents would be proud.
It's like everyone has a hatred for Faith even though she did nothing wrong. For God's sake, she was in prison for a year. Did she send out assassins to bully everyone while she was in there? Rebecca is a leader of another group of people called... Actually, I don't know what they're called. I don't think they're runners because it wasn't specifically told, but they're the ones that blew up that building. All I need to know about her is that she wants to fight the evil corporations with violence. We're also introduced to another character, Dogan. Apparently Faith owes him some money, which also isn't explained in the story. And can I just talk about this voice acting? It just sounds odd. There isn't anything particularly bad about it, but the delivery of the lines is just off, but I can't put my finger on it.
Faith, to think you should humble me with a visit.
I'm sorry, I should have come sooner.
Far be it from me to judge. It's not like you owe me anything.
Look, about that, I've got something to square my debt with.
Don't be crude. I haven't seen you in 2 years and already you're talking about debt. Come.
He tells us to go destroy a building, which we take an elevator up to the top floor because it's a parkour game. We drop a huge fucking drill on top of it, presumably killing everyone that was still left inside, and we proceed about our day like it's nothing. Noah tells us that Icarus is trapped somewhere and it's our job to help him get unstuck. Personally, if it were left to me, I would have just let that edgy bitch rot. We help him out and find out that our lair is being raided. We quickly rush over there and good god, another fighting section. Beat the shit out of some bad guys? Got it. No enemy type? No problem. Just kick him to death like we're a Taekwondo fighter trying to get our black belt. Icarus takes hold of a guard and we are told that everyone has been killed, including Noah. With no place to go, we go to Rebecca, and she proceeds to still insult us even after our leader slash friend has been killed less than 5 minutes ago. Some more pointless missions later Wait, can I just stop you for a moment? Did you notice anything while watching this video? Like, I don't know, the fucking saving logo constantly being up the entire time during gameplay? It's been like that throughout the whole game for me, which forced me to play through the game in one sitting. Because if video games taught me anything, quitting while a saving indicator is on screen is bad. Anyways, we are told to destroy some turrets and we magically capture Kruger's daughter. Why did we capture her? As a bargaining chip, of course. We go to hack K-Sex servers and we figure out that everyone that was in the raid that happened 10 minutes ago that was supposedly killed is still alive. And oh, plot twist, Kruger's daughter is actually Faith's sister, which was presumably killed when both of them were kids. We go to infiltrate Kingdom to save everyone and we meet a scientist which worked for Kruger. From her we find out that the drive Faith stole contained information on reflection, which we only figured out 5 hours later that reflection is something that's injected into you that can control everything about you, including your feelings. So this story is anti-vax propaganda. Yay! We go find Noah, who's being interrogated by Kruger, and he ain't no snitch. Kruger doesn't like that, so he tells the scientist to crank those speakers to 11, and Noah likes the song so much that he dies. After returning from Kingdom, we talk to Dogan, and this scene is pretty cool, so I'll let you watch it in its entirety.
Celebrity visit.
You gonna break my legs now? Might as well get it over with.
You should finish what you started. Then I can have your legs broken, if you want.
There's nothing to finish! Noah is dead! My mom worked on reflection, and now my sister works for Kruger. I'm the odd one out.
And the employees are embracing reflection as if it were a long-lost friend. A new world is coming, Faith. There will be no room in it for me, or you. Unless, of course, we stop it.
We can't stop Reflection!
On the contrary, I heard we can. I had a little chat with your friend Plastic, fascinating girl. She told me we need Kruger's own grid print to proceed.
Yeah, there's no way to get it.
Not even for a top runner? I happen to know that Kruger maintains a private apartment in the View, where you can access the entire Kruger family network.
Break into Kruger's private apartment? There's no way I'd get past security.
I'm sad to see I was wrong about you. You can see yourself out.
Wait, what? That's it?
What else is there? I once knew a young woman who would defy anyone and anything, even me, in order to do what she felt was right. But you're clearly not her. You're broken. Take the drawing and go. And don't show your sulking face here again.
Since when do you care for what's right?
When it coincides with my interests, why are you still here?
Because you're wrong. I'm not broken.
Prove it.
I will.
We go to break into Kruger's apartment to get his grid print, and it has such high security that Plastic opens the back door and we just walk in and casually run past all the guards like they don't even exist. We go grab Kruger's grid print and he pulls the "I was expecting you" move. We see a building blow up and we take a drone to the ground level. We are told to do some more pointless missions and we're sent on our final mission to take down Kruger. And this mission is pretty cool. You grab onto these big windmills and go flying, and it honestly feels awesome. We go climb through the building and oh god, this section. Words can't describe how bad it is. It's so bad that Faith decides to jump off the railing and fall to her death. You have to climb up these pipes while there's falling debris coming down on you, and it's pointlessly difficult for the simple fact that it's so hard to see. The pipes that you grab on look the exact same as the rest of this shaft, so a lot of the time you'll find yourself jumping on what you presume is a pipe but end up falling to your death. But I got past it nonetheless. We go do some more climbing and we get to Kruger's console. Kruger confronts us and we have to beat the shit out of some more guards. After beating those guards to death, we beat the shit out of Kruger and we see Faith's sister, who tries to stop the hacking sequence but gets completed in the last second. She runs off and we go after her. I needlessly died more than I should have because this game doesn't know how to make it clear that I had to drop on some sort of, I don't know, beanbag? We fight for a bit and the building begins to collapse. Faith almost falls off but her sister saves her. Then we see her sister in a helicopter and she flies off, and that's the end of the game. Yep. That's it. After the credits sequence, we learned that Faith's sister became the owner of whatever company Kruger ran, and then it really is the end of the game. So is the game worth it? Maybe. It can be fun at times, but in the end it is bland and boring with not much actually in it. The open world is pointless and ruins the fun of going through interesting and well crafted levels like in the first game. It sounds good on paper, but in execution it just doesn't fit well. The side activities don't add anything to it, and there are so little side missions with actual story that I didn't even know they existed until I accidentally completed one thinking it was a story mission. The parkour mechanics are improved and more modernized compared to the first game, with better animation and overall feel to them, which shouldn't be a surprise. It's the game's main selling point. The story isn't the worst, but could be better. I constantly felt like I was being thrown onto pointless missions just to pad out the playing time. If you're ever bored for a day, and yeah, pick the game up and play it. It isn't long at all and I finished it in a single sitting. It's relatively fun as I said, but there are way better games to play. I also recommend playing through the first game. Although it's old, I know that once you get used to more modern games it's hard to go back, but I still don't think that it lost its charm. Thank you for getting to the very end of this video. I know there aren't more videos you guys could check out on this channel, but please feel free to subscribe and like just so you see more content of this similar style. If there are any games you'd like for me to check out, please feel free to let me know in the comments. And remember, if you really like this content, please subscribe, it means a lot.